if you're wondering why or if you should get a 9mm lens for your Fujifilm, well, take a look at this. I think the answer is yes, but wait until you see what's on the other side of this sand dune where it's even more crazy beautiful. So yeah, I'm gonna get the camera and I'll show you. Whew. So we are officially shooting on the Fujifilm version, or the Fuji X-mount version of the Viltrox 9mm Air series. Finally, I mean, okay. Are you guys ready? Whoa, my eyes could eat this for breakfast. So hey there, in this video we are checking out the Fujifilm X-mount version of Viltrox 9mm f2.8. This here is an affordable ultra-wide prime that currently sells for about $200 with a nice little 5% discount until December 2nd. So use the links down below if you want to pick one of these up after the video. This time of year we got the whole beach to ourselves. That's the craziest thing about it. I mean, just look at this. So, yeah, 9mm is obviously great for landscapes. So I figured, since I'm not a photographer, but a videographer, I'll at least do a couple of these shots showing you the landscape. I mean, it's hard to choose, it's hard to pick a direction because everywhere we look right now is just absolutely crazy. Personally, I think 9mm is a pretty cool and versatile focal length, both for stills and for us video or hybrid shooters. You can get these larger than life vistas and crop into something like an X-pan, or well, since we're talking Fujifilm, I guess TX1 and TX2 aspect ratios. Same thing if you're working with video and you want to do some cinematic 239 crops or even repurpose video for vertical 9:16. And I don't know about you, but personally, after watching some of these samples, I don't have any complaints when it comes to the overall image quality so far. Like so, maybe a little back, a little forward. Yeah, I think that's fine. I just wanted to get this out of my hands. So I do want to talk about the elephant in the room, in this case the autofocus pulsing that you may have seen or may come across in some of the sample footage later on. So this was shot on my Fujifilm X-T4. Unfortunately, it's been a while since I went out and used this as my main camera, so I totally forgot to move the little focus box around and put that on my subject. Sometimes it was up in the skies, other times somewhere back in the distance, or just happily pointing on me when I was in the frame. So 100% user error, and to redeem myself, I'm going to show you some real autofocus performance. So back to the beach, and here we go. Ooh, the wind is making my eyes tear up, but I'm also happy to be here. But I figured let's do a quick autofocus test. So far, I haven't noticed any, abnormalities or any issues with the autofocus itself, but I'm gonna approach the camera like so. I think minimum focus around here somewhere. Yeah, overall it's just been super well behaved on the Fujifilm X-T4. I'm sure you guys with X-T5 and newer cameras, the HS2S or XM5 and those cameras will have even better autofocus performance. But for the X-T4, it's been great. So yeah, I think the autofocus performance is great, especially on the Fujifilm X-T4, which uses the older or the previous generation of autofocus. So no tracking or any of that fancy stuff. At 13 centimeters, or about cheeseburger and a half, the minimum focus distance of this lens is pretty impressive. And remember, that's 1.5 cheeseburgers from the sensor plane and not from the front element. So you can get pretty up and close and create some pretty interesting perspectives and almost pseudo wide angle macro shots. So lots of fun to be had. And since there's very little distortion on this lens, it's a great lens for other things like architecture, real estate, or any other type of subjects or shooting that requires, some nice symmetry. As an example, just look at the studs and the line here in this shed that is shot with a Viltrox, and this other one here is shot with my Sigma 24-70 that I use to capture some of the behind the scenes or B-roll, I guess. There's very little distortion here on the Viltrox. Another giveaway is horizon lines, which we have plenty of here by the sea. So here's another side by side, and you can just see how the horizon kind of bows here on the Sigma, while the Viltrox keep things nice and straight. But horizons, that's kind of the easy part. The real torture test of any ultra-wide lens is tall structures, the Cathedral effect. That's where any leaning verticals or weird warping usually shows up. But the 9mm, it handles this really well. So the 9mm is part of Viltrox Air series and should come in at around $200. I think it's going to be the same as the E-mount, the Z-mount, those previous versions. We got 9 elements in 6 groups, 58mm filter thread on the front, and a USB-C port at the back for firmware updates. We got a focus ring, but no buttons, no dials, no weather sealing or stabilization, which you really don't need on a 9mm lens. But for $200, you're getting a lot of optical performance, in my opinion. So performance and spec-wise, it's pretty much, it is identical to the E and the Z-mount version that everyone's been raving about for good reasons, according to me. Now, let's take a look at the charts. They pretty much confirm what we've suspected. We get a nice sharpness across the frame, wide open, even if the corners improve just a tiny bit stopped down. But like I said in my video on the E-mount version of the same lens, they were already pretty good to begin with. So there might be a tiny bit of vignetting on this lens, especially if you're shooting wide open. Right now, I think we're at f3.2 or something, but vignetting is hardly the most difficult things to get rid of. And same thing when it comes to chromatic aberration. I haven't really noticed any chromatic aberration. And remember, I have shot with this lens, but the E-mount version before. But honestly, there's very little vignetting in real world footage, and I'm using a 58mm V&D for all of the shots that you're seeing in this video, and I think the V&D added a tiny bit of extra vignetting. So in retrospect, I probably should have used an 82mm filter, but sometimes convenience wins. Now, if you've never shot with an ultra-wide like this 9mm, there's gotta be a bit of a learning curve or some adjustments you have to make. So the first thing you want to make sure to do is to move a little closer than what you're used to make sure that you're actually filling the frame. So that could be done with distance between your subject and the camera. But you can also work with things like composition and make sure there's interesting things in the background that kind of fills that void that would be there otherwise. Now, for vlogging on APS-C, 9mm is basically like a 13.5-ish, 14mm equivalent full frame. Is a great focal length for vlogging as it allows you to be in frame, but it's also going to show plenty or enough of the environment around you, and that makes things a bit more interesting. It's not always about you. And by the way, ultra wide angle primes usually flares a lot easier than your standard or typical focal length, but this here, yeah, there's a tiny bit of ghosting, but I think the overall performance is pretty okay. autofocus noise. Let's check it out right now before we try to wrap things up. So I'm just gonna hold this up to the boom mic here in the studio, and we'll juggle the autofocus a bit, and I'll do my best to be quiet while doing this. So here we go. Yeah, there's definitely some autofocus noise, some mechanical rattling going on here. So that will definitely get picked up by the camera's internal microphones. But if you're a video shooter, you're not relying on those internal microphones anyway. So let's see if we can wrap this up. So personally, I think the new 9mm Air series is not only a fun, creative, and pretty versatile lens for us APS-C shooters. It's sharp and as optically well behaved as the previous lenses we've seen in the Air series. And for some reason, there's not a whole lot of ultra wides available for Fujifilm X-mount. I don't know why that is, but I can think of one, and there's like one wide angle zoom, I think. So not a whole lot to choose from. So for 200 bucks, I would say that this here is a pretty great deal for any Fujifilm APS-C shooters out there. If you're on GFX, then lucky you. And thank you for watching, by the way. But yeah, 200 bucks for a lens like this. It's sharp, it's well behaved. And remember that 5% discount, by the way, up until December 2nd. But if you're watching this video after December 2nd, there's still a way for you to get a nice little discount by using the coupon code in the description and order the lens straight from Viltrox. That will give you the discount and it'll help me out a tiny bit as well. So thank you for using those links. So thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of the sunset. Bye.